This is Rivian. And this is Rivian. And what do you think this is here? This is Rivian. You may ask, is this another fancy truck that ruins our planet's ecological system? And I will say, no. This is an electric truck. An electric truck for whatever you call a road. Rivian's story goes back to 2009, when R.J. Scaringe, an MIT engineering grad and the current CEO of Rivian, decided to start an electric sports car company. He liked cars since he was a child, but soon enough, he understood that traditional cars harm the environment badly. It was him alone starting the company, but RJ was able to gather a small group of 5 or 6 people to work with him during these hard days. Originally, the company was named Mainstream Motors, but unfortunately, after 2 years of intense work, Scaringe abandoned the sports car project and decided to pivot. It was increasingly clear, Scaringe would later write to investors, that the car would do little beyond what had already been achieved by Tesla. Instead of the sports car, RJ decided to focus on creating an adventure brand, with a spirit close to North Face or GoPro. Rivian spent almost a decade quietly developing battery tech and truck designs, and no one heard much until 2017, when they finally started to draw some attention to their brand. Things started to snowball when Rivian demonstrated 2 models at the LA Auto Show in 2018, the R1T pickup truck and the R1S SUV. It was reported that these trucks are able to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in about 3 seconds. That was incredible. During the event, Rivian clearly showed that they weren't just trying to copy Tesla, how one might think. Instead, they focused on their own vision and identity, which clearly paid off. At this time, Rivian had already captured the attention of many large investors. Jeff Bezos, the then chief executive of Amazon, visited Rivian's Michigan headquarters in late 2018 to meet Scaringe. Soon enough, in February 2019, Amazon invested a whopping $700 million in its first of several rounds of investment. Later that year, Ford made its move and invested $500 million more into RJ's company. One clause of the deal was an integral agreement between 2 companies that Ford would be able to create its vehicle using Rivian's architecture, a skateboard of batteries and components that could be used on many types of electric vehicles. Nevertheless, it was now clear that Rivian was becoming a serious player from now on. Using the investments, Scaringe and his team were able to get a 2.6 million square foot factory at their disposal to produce their cars. They also hired more than 2,000 employees to work on the projects. In September 2019, Amazon signed a deal with Rivian. They promised to order 100,000 delivery vans. This was said to be the largest purchase of light-duty EVs in history. Amazon made its first truck deliveries in 2021 and plans to have all of the new trucks on the road by 2030. In November 2019, the company posted an update to its website, indicating Rivian would be taking fleet orders from non-Amazon companies starting in 2023. The exclusivity clause of this agreement may significantly hamper Rivian's ability to capture market share and allow more competitors to enter the EDV market uncontested, the investment research firm New Constructs wrote later. During this decade, Rivian invested heavily in research and development. In 2020, they spent $766 million, and in 2021, this figure almost doubled. Rivian expects those costs to continue to rise, but they only started to deliver the pre-order trucks and are very far from seeing huge profits. Fortunately, Rivian's backers have the funds to provide financial support for the many years it takes automakers to reach profitability. And here we are. In October 2021, Rivian went public at a monster $77 billion valuation, with the goal of raising nearly $10 billion. The startup was slated to be the 7th largest IPO on a US stock exchange in history, and the biggest public offering for a US company since Facebook in 2012. So, what is Rivian able to offer to its customers now? Well, not much yet. The automaker just started to deliver vehicles from its Normal, Illinois plant a few months ago. The company received 50,000 pre-orders for the R1T and R1S models, and just 156 have been delivered so far. It's interesting to know that, according to the Financial Times article, the company reported delivering nearly all pre-orders on an internal meeting. And let's not forget about the competitors. It is reported that Ford's F-150 Lightning received more than 160,000 pre-orders, and there are more than 1 million pre-orders on a Tesla Cybertruck. But keep in mind that Rivian was the first company to really start delivering those trucks to the customers, while F-150 Lightning and Cybertruck models will start their mass production only in 2022. This might become a serious competitive advantage for the Rivian trucks in the long term. So, could the Rivian be the next Tesla? With its R1T and R1S models, Rivian is aiming to do with pickup trucks and SUVs what Tesla did with sedans. Remember, the Ford F-150 has almost forever been the best-selling vehicle in the US. In fact, the top 6 automobiles in the US by sales are either pickup trucks or SUVs. Thus, Rivian is aiming to capture a piece of this market rapidly. Unfortunately, the EV market is becoming more and more crowded these days, which may prevent the company to skyrocket as Tesla did. Even in the rosiest Tesla-like scenario, it could be a long time before a bet on Rivian pays off. Tesla's share price, for instance, bounced between $30 and $75 for most of the 5 years leading up to 2019. And finally, last but not least, right now we face the chip crisis the entire industry is trying to deal with right now. This is adding one more layer of complexity for the Rivian company. Looking ahead, while Rivian is a consensus #1 draft pick, only time will show if it's really going to capture the EV market the right way. Meanwhile, let's just keep the company on the radar. Don't hesitate to state your opinion on the Rivian company in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and like. This helps us bring top-notch content to your screens every week.